Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Science Stream. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook. As always, I hope you are staying safe and healthy during this pandemic. We'll be starting our broadcast shortly, so make yourself comfortable and feel free to leave your comments in the your questions in the comment section for your guests to answer. See you in a bit. Hello once again, especially to those who have just joined us. I'm Sean from Sdn Penang, Penang's very own Science Discovery Center. Apologies for the timing of this program as we wanted to ensure our Muslim friends who are observing fasting during the month of Ramadan is able to join this program as well. We'll be moving this program earlier to 8 p.m. after the month of Ramadan. Last week, we heard from our guest, Dr. Kevin, explaining why the intubation process is a risky procedure for medical frontliners. Dr. Kevin, as an anesthesiologist, would have to perform this procedure on COVID-19 patients who are warded in the ICU to help them breathe. The procedure poses risk to medical frontliners because in the process of cutting open the patient's airway to insert the tube in, the virus would aerosolize, and without proper PPE, personal protective equipment, the medical frontliners are at risk of contracting COVID-19. We also heard from Dr. Kevin that our healthcare system had no reason to stock up PPE, apart from the normal known usage prior to the onset of the pandemic. However, due to the sudden surge in demand for PPE locally and abroad, with more medical frontliners having to don multiple pieces of the PPE daily, coupled with China, the factory of the world, and many countries in lockdown, supplies dried up. Enter 3D printing, a disruptive technology which former US President Barack Obama mentioned in his 2013 State of the Union address as having the potential to revolutionize the way we make almost everything. And in this pandemic, it has done just that. Our guest tonight, I am Louis Ooi, is the director of Make Sdn Bhd, which specializes in providing 3D printing products and services, plus automation and software solutions. Proudly an original Penang Lang, he studied mechatronics engineering at PSDC, where he received a top student award and then received first-class honors for his EE engineering degree at KDU Penang in 2015. His passion has always been in hardware, machinery, and robotics, and this led to him being mentored by Penang Science Cluster, PSC, in the early days of his career. Since then, he has been actively involved in 3D printing, conducting workshops and training, designing STEM content, organizing events and R&D projects, including composite furniture, fiberglass epoxy composite building materials, and new material systems for 3D printing. Even before he finished his diploma, he had received job offers from several MNCs. It was at this moment in his life that he terms as a major plot twist in which he turned down those offers and took a big gamble in his youth and abilities by partnering with his primary schoolmate Chester Chin, who studied software engineering to establish Make Sdn Bhd during their time studying in KDU. Working on what he loves keeps his passion burning, and tonight we will listen to how this passion of his helped our medical frontliners during the recent movement control order. Join me to welcome I am Louis Ooi to the show.
Hi, hello. Hi, guys. Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, welcome to Science Stream. Thanks for being with us tonight. So, tell me, why is your name I am Louis Ooi? Is that what is written on your IC?
No. Okay, my surname is Ooi and my name is Xiong Yik. So my IC is written Ooi Xiong Yik only. So Louis is my nickname. And the I am, okay, I think you get it from Facebook, right? So basically, I think previously when I register my Facebook account and I noticed there's a lot of Louis Ooi. This name has occupied and taken by a lot of people. So I'm trying to do something different and get some different name. And I am, initially I put I space AM space Louis, and too many space in there and it looks messy. So I just joined up the first space, so it's IAM space Louis. The funny fact is sometimes when I call Grab drivers, because it's tied up with my Facebook, right? So the Grab drivers will say, "Are you Iam Louis?"
Yeah. So yeah, when I passed to our designer to put this graphic together, it was actually removed also, thinking that it was a typo. They said, no, you have to put that in. Our guest requested for that to be in, so please put that in. Yeah, very special indeed. Okay, for the major plot twist that you mentioned, in your life, tell us more about it. Was it a difficult decision? Were your family members supportive of this decision of yours? Why did you choose this path instead?
Okay, actually, I didn't go through my family. Yeah, they don't
maybe the
know
right choice.
that. Well, so basically, if you want to talk about the story, it starts from since my age 11. So something happens to my family, and I stay with my mother and brother, and my father left us. Left us, yeah. So I was raised my mother since then. And I'm kind of like, because of that, my mindset is
More
quite
independent.
traditional. So I fix with
Okay.
we should get a stable job, we should get a stable life and stable income kind of thing. So from there, my ambition was like, okay, I want to be an engineer and get join the industry, things like that. So the plot twist was since my diploma. When I started to do my FYP, which includes, involved in some robotics kind of stuff, I met Dato Yun and Peng Yi, who started the PSC, Penang Science Cluster. So I met them, and they saw my FYP, and they kind of like give me some advice, and they convinced me to join the business game. And I raised up some funds, some investor invest in my company, and I joined up with Chester Chin. Chester actually introduced me to Dato Yun and Peng Yi. So he's one of the key person that changes my life as well, and the other two was my mentor since then. And so I started my company since that time.
All right. So your company specializes, in 3D printing. So tell us more about what 3D printing is. What is considered 3D printing? What is this technology about?
Okay, good question. And 3D printing is something about we call it additive manufacturing, right? So 3D printing is very different from the traditional ways we build stuff. Because traditional, like if you're trying to build things with wood or metal, we start with a big block, right? Then we remove, we mill out or drill out the parts that we don't want. Like you want a hole, you drill it out. Then that's we call it the subtractive method of building stuff. So we subtract the parts that we don't want. Where additive manufacturing, it's we add up by layer by layer, we add things up to form that shape. So we won't generate any waste from it. And okay, let's talk about the ways to 3D print. Basically, we just imagine a hot glue gun, you string it down to very mini, tiny hot glue gun, then you mount it on to a machine. Then that machine moves left and right, front and back, right? So if that hot glue gun, it melt that glue and draw a line, right? So that line, we wait it until it cured, it solidifies. And on top of that line, you draw another line, right? Then we repeat that process. You keep drawing, then you will form a wall. So imagine, what if we draw a circle? So every layer, keep it up, we draw a circle, then we will form a cylinder. So that's the way of 3D printing. So for every layer, we draw different structures, different shapes. We will make up different stuff, adding layer by layer. That's why we call additive manufacturing. And So that's the very layman term to explain how 3D printer works. But of course, we are not using hot glue gun, right?
So
yeah.
it's interesting you mentioned about hot glue gun, because TechDome also has this 3D printing workshop, and one of the workshops that we use the 3D printing pen, and whenever the students they look at it, oh, hot glue gun. They say, wow, they have a lot of colors. So they are more they are more aware of what hot glue gun is. I think more and more people actually use it in their projects now, so they can understand. Oh, even when we explain, it's going to be very hot here. It needs to heat up so that it melts the plastic and that. So it's like, hot glue gun. No. So we have to explain to them actually what it is. So yeah, interesting that we encounter the same thing as well. Okay, so tell us what inspired you to produce the face shield using 3D printing technology. Was it your friend who was a frontliner at Penang General Hospital? How did your friend advise you in improving your face shield that becomes suitable for them to use?
Okay. Initially, it's the whole idea came from also one of my mentors, Anita, right? So she's from PSC, right? Within PSC themselves, they have a WhatsApp group, and they have started discussing about the face shield. And at the same time, I've seen news and from newspaper and news, right? A lot of organizations, they are doing the DIY face shield, the sponge type. They cut a sponge, they stick it up, so everybody can DIY one face shield, and they donate for hospitals. So the movement has started since then, and it's not just in Malaysia. It happens all around the world. There are 3D printers out there printing face shield for the frontliners as well. So this news is not new. Even the face shield is not new. It has been all a while. It's a standard product, right? So the thing is when Anita contacted me, she says, yeah, Louis, we can do something out of it. If we got a 3D printer, we can print almost any shape out of it, any shape in plastic, right? So why not we do something, we print a face shield and help the frontliners. So then I straight away call my primary school mates, right? Dr. Sid is from Penang General Hospital. Yeah. So I call him to ask about what's the standard of face shield, what should be considered as a good design face shield, and what are the key features we should take in when we design it. And also the most important thing, is there a demand? The doctors, the frontliners really need the face shield, else we'll be generating waste, right? So the answer is yes, they need a lot of face shield, right? So they need a lot, and they have been asking different organizations out there to donate for them. So that's how we started the whole project, right? Immediately, since I closed my chat with Dr. Sid, I started to design the shield. Of course, I didn't really design out from nothing. I go and have a look on a lot of different designs out there, especially from Prusa's design. They did a really good job on in Czech Republic, right? So that company designs the 3D printers, and they print a lot for the frontliners as well. So I get they have documented very well specs and the safety precautions and how to disinfect, how to handle all the face shields information out there. So by reading through that, I know what are the basic requirements for that. Then I started to redesign a little bit of thing that fits to our Asian, our tiny head size, and I tried. Because they use laser cutter and different materials to build that face shield, and we are lack of that kind of materials right here. So I need to work on something that we can easily buy. We can the parts are easily available, and even the hospitals, they can buy it themselves. So we need to get something very basic, and a lot of supplies can be provided at that time, because it's locked down. Everything is, else you have a good design, but you don't have the material to build it, then you can't scale it. So from there, we have to meet all these things. Then I designed the first version of face shield. The next day, actually I'm a little bit worried as well, because I ran to his house and showed him the face shields, and he's one of the frontliners, right? So he just finished his shift that day. Actually, he was in quarantine by himself as well. So he stays in his room, never get contact with his family, something like that. Some funny stories back there, but yeah, I even wear that mask when I meet him. So I did a lot of self-protection for myself as well. 2 layers of masks and 1 face shield, things like that. So yeah, right after he saw that face shield, he recorded a video, then posted on Facebook, shared it to his doctors group, frontliners group. They have their own Facebook close group, right? And yeah, that's how the whole thing went viral. So from there, we noticed that, actually there are some groups in KL. The 3D is from the 3D printing community as well. So from KL, they are doing the same thing, right? So it's not just us. It's not like like the everywhere in the world is doing. It's not Penang only. And yeah, we start to communicate, and I've even talked to people. One of the people from the America. So I know what they are doing, because they estimate designs of face shield as well, right? So yeah, then Dr. Sid connects me up with more doctors in General Hospital, and even Dato Yun's son, he's working in the CRC in General Hospital as well. So from there, we get more feedback from doctors. So it's a very close collaborations between me and the doctors. On and off, we discuss about what are the necessary steps and procedures we need to remove, how to wear the face shield, and what are the proper things to do, and those even my first design is actually an open top covered face shield, so there's nothing covering up that. Purpose for that is actually, I think, yes, Dr. Sid told me that the frontliners, they are working under the sun. So they didn't go into the hospital, for the when they test, or they get all the screen testings. They build a tent in front of the hospital. So it's all the screen testing is done under the hot sun. So they sweat a lot, and they need a very good ventilation. That's why I open the top for the face shield for the ventilation. And ends up the feedback is we shouldn't have any open holes up there, because when they do the screen testing, they will actually insert a swab right into our nose and our mouth, go very deep, very deep inside, and get your samples in there. So it's a very painful process, and it will trigger the patients to sneeze, cough. Yeah, and all these body fluids and aerosols are the most dangerous parts that it flies around. So this thing, it flies around and it will drop somewhere. So if you have an open tops, it will drops into your face shield. So then our second design is a covered one, right? Then for more feedbacks from the doctors on how the process of how's the easy way to remove the plastic parts and get it to disinfect, and all these things, then we came out our final versions of the whole face shield, right?
Okay, so the Penang state government came in with 60,000 ringgit funding to produce 60,000 face masks face shields in 30 days. That comes to about 2,000 face shields a day. How did you manage this? How many 3D printers were actually deployed during that time?
Oh yeah. Okay. Initially, as I mentioned, it's Anita started that sent me that message of, yeah, we should do all these things, right? So also from Penang Science Cluster. So after we get all the design done, Penang Science Cluster, you know, they help me. It's a co-working stuff. So they manage in all this. They coordinate all the productions, the volunteers, right, and even the funds, because it's a public fund. We actually get those fundings from I would say a few parties, the individuals donor, the industry, corporates industry, and the state government, right? So these funds all goes into Penang Science Cluster, which is a non-profit organization that is it's led by the industry and also state government, right? So to keep everything transparent and I mean to be fair to the parties who involved, so we want to keep everything clean and clear. So that's why PSC is handling with all this for the productions and supplies, all the inquiries from the health facilities, right? So yeah, they are coordinating the entire things. So myself handles more to the design and the meeting with the doctors on what's the standard procedure of their PPE, right? How do they handle all these things? So my side will be more to design and discussion. So very thanks to PSC who manage throughout the whole thing. So they have a big team. They have a very experienced operation manager and people in there, right? And yeah, so all the funds go through go to the PSC.
So okay, it's related to what you're saying now. So we're going to flash up a comment. Okay, so this is from our guest last week, Dr. Kevin. Definitely a demand. When the pandemic started, there were hardly any face shields available, and we were reusing the ones we had, which was dangerous for us. People like Louis and others who made face shields for us were lifesavers for us. One comment is that the sponge was more comfortable to wear. I know that we were in another group chat, and also I've read your comments on Facebook regarding the sponge. I remembered how you reacted in the group chat when the sponge was mentioned. So maybe you want to comment on this?
Yeah. Of course. I mean, sponge is more comfortable to wear. That's you can't beat sponge, right? When you wear a face shield. So basically, from the feedbacks of doctors as well. Okay, I have to mention this very clearly. It's not any medical claim. It's not from not any approval. I mean, we okay. The general hospital doesn't involve in making all these decisions, right? So it's all about my discussion with the end user. It's a personal things, right? Yeah, but they are the end users, the doctors, the frontliners. So sponge, there are different feedbacks. You see, good things about funds. That the sponge is first, it's comfortable, and second, it blocks and absorbs the sweat, you see, because when you're hot, right, so you tend to sweat a lot, so you don't want the sweat to fall into your face and you use your hand to to wipe it on anything, then it's dangerous, right? So but the key point to prevent the droplets, it's you need to seal up well, right? So why why we go against sponge is actually two factors. First, sponge absorbs sweats. It absorbs the aerosols as well. So, and it gets contact to your forehead, and the virus or the germs, it gets direct contact to your skin. And because it absorbs different property, one is absorbed, and the plastic is all the droplets, right? And that's the first thing is about sponge, not hygienic, right? Then second is the sponge. In order to make that face shield, we have to glue permanently to the plastic sheets. I mean the sponge has to glue on the plastic sheets. So when you're trying to dispose it, it's very difficult if you take out the sponge. So you have to throw the entire thing. So can you imagine how much waste? I'm sorry, what's the volume of the waste that you would create from there? So imagine 100 sheets of 100 face shield, right? Packing it up with the sponge in between, it's huge. It's key. Very difficult for us to deliver and to dispose. Right? So few things in it. So that's why I have some samples here. I try to do a shield that without sponges. But if those doctors or those frontliners that they have plastic and they need to the sweat or to get comfortable, we suggest they use micro pulse with the hospital. Micro pulse like the kind of tissue paper kind of thing, or tissue paper. Sorry, it's not tissue paper. You can use tissue paper or the micro pulse. Then you stick it up with the gauze or any tape. Then you can still maintain your comfortable from wearing this face shield. And of course, we try to make this part as wide as possible. So when you wear it, you won't feel that much of pressure that goes into your forehead. So we try to make it comfortable as well. But anyway, thanks to Dr. Kevin. That's one of the key factors that we have considered when we designed it. Yeah.
I understand there were many volunteers involved in putting the face shields together, the punching holes of the clear plastic that you showed just now to attach to the part where you had 3D printed. I had friends asking me if the call for help was actually genuine. So I said, you please help. How many volunteers were there in total, and how did you go about distributing, collecting the face shields to and from them? Run us through the whole process. I know you mentioned PSC was really doing it, but probably how it went. You can share so that people actually understood. Under a movement control order, I'm sure it wasn't very easy. There were going to be roadblocks, you're going to be stopped and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So again, all this we have to thanks to PSC. So up until today, right? We have more than 350 volunteers that we have engaged and helped us on preparing and producing all our punch holes, shield, and so they help us to punch hole, to cut the elastic band, to punch the hole or to cut the hole for hooking up with the visor. Then the numbers is more than 350, and also for the 3D printing communities, right? We have another separate group for our Penang 3D printers communities or hobbies. So these are the people that we know that they have 3D printers in their home. So congratulations, I would say is that most of the makers, they will wish to have one 3D printers, and these are the awesome people that they build stuff, they have 3D printers, some even they build their own 3D printers. You see. In our group, there are more than 30 members in our 3D printer group. So at that time, we were producing about 150 to 200 the plastic brackets, 3D printed plastic brackets a day. So yeah, so very thanks to them. And talking about, is it genuine, or I mean, how legit is this whole thing, right? We have, okay, those volunteers is registered through Google Drive, right? And within the WhatsApp group ourselves, I mean, we manage the communications with all these volunteers in the WhatsApp group. So we have we share all the tracking lists, the contacts and the numbers of face shield, also, as well as the name of the health facilities that we know that is in our group that has contributed to help us manage all these things, and even during the productions, right? So we send out all the materials. Yeah, of course, very thanks to the sponsors and the funders. Even the some shops sponsor us for the plastic shield and the elastic band as well. So we distribute all these raw materials to every families or every volunteers that will that they sign up, right? So we give it up to them. They help us to punch it, and we collect it from them, or they can even self deliver to PSC office. So everything is open. So right, and we keep on update on our numbers, and yeah, face shields. I mean, sorry, the general hospitals is using it. There are pictures. There are people who shares all the face shields feedbacks from it. So yeah, things are open, and yeah, I hope that answers your question.
So, Dr. Kevin has actually responded to what you have answered. It's also one of the things that I intend to bring up. So maybe we can flash the comment now. It's regarding about the environment and so totally agree. This pandemic is a nightmare for the environment. All our items were single use. Louis' design is interesting, looks much more comfy. I was wearing one like hairband. Yeah, so well done on innovation. So my question with regards to the environment is that 3D printing is known to use plastic filaments as its ink. If we compare with the printers that we actually know and use at home, will higher adoption rates and increase in usage of 3D printing actually cause harm to the environment instead?
Okay, there the so-called ink, we normally know it as plastic, and of plastics. We're known as PLA, ABS, PETG, TPU, PP. There are different materials out there, and some materials are pretty harmful, some are not that harmful, and I won't say it's 100% good, right? But for our face shield, for the case, we encourage people to use the materials that is less harmful. We call it PLA. That's also one of the most popular material has been using all around the world. First is because definitely it's cheap, right? And second is less harmful. Why? Because the base material of PLA, it's cornstarch, and PLA of course, it stands for polylactic acid. So basically, it's built up from cornstarch with some fillers, some color fillers, or some stabilizer, things like that. So we can, I mean, even for the people who owns 3D printer, we know comparing to materials, ES, right? So when you Of course, we need to print in the ventilated room, right? And we use PLA. And if you ask about is the plastic, how do you say? Is the plastic good for the environment other than fumes, right? The other good things is it's biodegradable. According to the articles, it can be degrade. I mean, like about 15 to 20 years, then it will goes back to the to its initial form or something. It will degrade all these things, but I've never tested it yet, because I'm still new. But
You don't have 20 years yet.
yeah. So of course, other than the environmental issues, right? We still goes back to, is it safe to use for the medical frontliners? That's the key question for the face shield project. First of all, we design this face shield in the form of when we care about environment, we need some things that is recyclable and all reusable. Reusable is the key. So to reuse it, we actually right. For this test, and we get all the solutions, the disinfectant solutions from the hospital. That includes the germicide, the sodium hypochlorite, which widely known as bleach, right? And some we tried it with ethanol, IPA, even acetone. Acetone, it won't last that long for acetone, but for hospitals, we tried it for the bleach and the sodium, and the germicide. So these two are the main disinfectant that they use. So that can last up to 100 times of wash. And yeah, I would say even they wash it, they reuse it for 50 times. That saves a lot for the environment already. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so is 3D printing expensive? Will it ever replace conventional, mass manufacturing?
Okay, if you talk about 3D printing expensive, all right. How can we say? Okay, we are comparing, like, if you compare plastic to plastic, right? Let's compare it with injection molding process, right? So most of the plastic that has been produced is in injection molding process. So first, the machine. As we know, injection molding machine that would cost easily up to 6 figure, and 3D printer is about 4 figure right now. Second, the setup cost, the pre-production cost. For injection molding, we need to do a lot of tooling for the mold, and for 3D printer, almost nothing, right? You just put in the material and start printing. But when you come to the last part, which is the price per piece of the plastic that we have produced, definitely injection molding is cheaper, right? And 3D printer will be a little bit expensive. But if we are talking about 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces, 3D printer is definitely winning in this battle. You see, it doesn't have any setup costs. You don't need. I mean, you can have a very low cost machine to start everything. Yeah, and yeah, and 3D printer over time, like right now, if you buy the China made 3D printer, you can easily get 1,000 ringgit. You can get one machines. Yeah, and yeah.
So, but that price point, maybe you 10 more people to be involved. You mentioned about the hobbies and things like that. So how well accepted is 3D printing in Malaysia compared to other parts of the world? Can 3D printing be considered mainstream yet? Yeah, and which country is 3D printing most widely adopted or well known for?
Okay. Most of the first world country, right? 3D printing is pretty popular for them. As according to what I know from Prusa's website and the 3D printing community worldwide, uh, almost all makers will have at least one machines in their home. So it's very popular worldwide. No, sorry, for the first world country. For Malaysia, right? I won't say it's widely known, and yeah, KL there are a lot of companies selling 3D printers and even providing 3D printing services. In field for about 6 years. The main industries, sorry, the big industries, the MNCs, yeah, they know well. But for the public, other than education line, probably it's quite new things lah for them as 3D printers. But of course, we have to work a lot to get this technology popular. And yeah, I think Sean, you are in the same line with me. Sometimes because I conduct a lot of 3D printing courses, right? Collaborations and partners up with some tuition center to teach some STEM contents and programs. So I try to push 3D printing into all these STEM related field. So we get all the young generations, the new generations to understand more about 3D printings. But basically, it's just a tools to make things, right? The core things is how can we design for the machines to be printed. Yeah.
So facial was the main thing that you're printing, or probably the only thing. Do you have plans to actually print other medical equipment parts such as ventilators or even the mask? I would say respirators lah. Like what other makers in other countries did to help their medical frontliners. Were there any plans, or already there are plans for that?
Oh yeah. Now we are doing this. Let me show you. This is it's like a worm. It's very cute. Okay, so this thing is a mask pain relief for the frontliners who wear masks, right? It's an ear extender. So when we wear it up, it extends. So it clips on to the mask. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
we are doing.
So basically,
as well.
Doing the same thing. Yeah. So basically, the idea 3D printer it prints almost any shapes as long as you can design it, right? Other than the face shield and the mask clip, we actually talk to the hospitals on can we build them ventilators and some what they call it, the isolation chamber or things like that. But of course, it's from different materials. At the moment, they are quite well equipped with all these things, and they don't need they don't need any help from us at the moment. There are some parties that will have been contacting them and providing them with all these medical equipments, right? So at the moment, we are more focused in face shield and mask clip.
So besides additive manufacturing like 3D printing, what other technologies or solutions do you reckon will be useful in this pandemic?
Okay, as I said, 3D printing is just a tools to make things, right? So there are more technologies can be used to make different good things. Like for example, laser cutter, right? There's I mean, in KL, right, there are teams that they use 3D, they use laser cutter to print the face shield plastic brackets, right? And other than printing, other than cutting plastics, they cut woods as well, right? So for the same technologies, we can use it for different applications to help to help the frontliners. So, for example, like 3D printing, it doesn't stop at the face shield. It extends to, you can build ventilators, uh, even laser cutters. It doesn't stop at face shield. You can cut it and shape it to do the isolators and even the counter blockers or the canteen blockers partition for people to you know to sit together to each other. So you have partitions for it. So different tools and technologies they are there to build stuff, right? Yeah. So far, if you recommend, if you want me to recommend other technologies, for my field myself, I've been exposed to laser cutter and 3D printers that I know these two technologies that I have hands-on to help the frontliners. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We are close to the end of our program already. It's close to an hour already. So, Louis, if someone in the audience owns a 3D printer, how can he or she help in this battle against COVID-19?
Okay, that's interesting. Initially, if you first, I will definitely join you into our Penang community 3D printing group, right? I think later probably I can put a comments, the link in there so you can join us. But I will have to say, yeah, if you have a 3D printer, you can print face shields to help for the frontliners. But right now, luckily, I mean, Penang is well equipped with face shield at the moment, as we have moved from 3D printing to injection molding already. So we are producing like close to 2,000 a day, but we stopped the production right now already, as we don't want to generate more waste, you see. So as they have enough face shield right now, right? So yeah, I'll share the link below later on, so you can join our group. Yeah, but thanks.
Okay, so thank you so much, Luis, for all the sharing. Close to an hour. We thank you for your passion and hope you stay safe and healthy always. Any parting words before we call it a night?
Okay. Well, I would say let's continue our life and embrace the new normal, the new SOP. What was it? The avoid 3C, the avoid crowded places, avoid confined spaces, and avoid close conversation, and practice the 3W: wash, wear, and warn. And although we Penang Lang did a good job, right? Congratulations, we have achieved all greens for all our bookings, but we can't let our guard down. So until the vaccine is out, so we can back to our normal life, the previous life. But anyway, I really miss the time, to go out and yum cha and chui sui with my friends. And of course, I'm a heavy coffee drinker, so previously we was always like sini kopi, kia kopi sana, kia kopi kopi kopi. Yeah, I would love to go back to all these old times, and mamak session especially. So especially the Maggie goreng and teh tarik, of course we can tapao lah, but the feel and the kick to eat out there is different one, And
but if you think, for the time being, we should refrain from that.
Yeah, and of course, I like to visit Tech Dome as well, right? Play the GeForce explore all the mystery of science and astronomy, right? So, well, let's I mean, for the sake of our health, our safety, and our mamak session, let's stay home and stay safe.
I really do miss the sound of children running around, tech dome and things like that. For the safety of the public, we won't be opening anytime soon. But I look forward to the day when we do reopen our doors to the public, and then all those kids will have fun exploring science within our halls. If I could hold you on for just a bit, there's a question that just came in at the very last minute. Can we flash that question up? Okay, it's from Joanne Tan. Will it be like a little waste of resources if we can't recycle the plastic used for the 3D printing? Maybe she came a bit late. I'm not sure. Probably something that you have already commented, but maybe you can just give a short comment on this.
Okay, so I would say basically we have three parts of the face shield, right? So one is the transparent shield, the 3D printed shield. Of course, the one I'm showing is injection molded, and the rubber band. So this can be reused, right? And definitely, yeah, I've actually raised the same question to the frontliners as well. The parts like this and this, yeah, we can't recycle and reuse, right? You have to dispose for every patient. But of course, in the medical field, these are considered something cheap to be disposed, and something the core idea is we have to dispose things in a very minimum way lah. So the face shield, the whole part, for our sake of the safety, the high risk department or high risk frontliners, they will dispose the entire thing, right? This might cost like this whole thing is cost about RM1. So RM1 for a life, if you compare that way, yeah. So we should throw it lah. But the core and the whole idea is we reuse and recycle as much thing as possible. So out of these three core components, we have achieved one of the things that can be recycled. And 3D printing is a thermoplastic, so we can remelt the entire thing, remelt this whole thing, not for the injection mold part, but for the previous versions of the design, the 3D printed plastic brackets, we can remelt it and reprint it, reshape it into different models, different projects, or different toys. Of course, we have to disinfect well before we do perform all these things. Yeah. So, did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I guess you did answer prior to that also, like Dr. Kevin's follow-up question as well. But okay, so thank you so much again, Louis, for joining us tonight. So stay safe, and one day see you back in Tech Dome, and also our for maybe Mamak session.
Yeah. Okay. See you. Bye.
Right. That's all we have for tonight. So for those of you who are also yearning for a Mama session, it's not yet time for that, although our Chief Minister have announced that we can dine in for all the other eateries starting on Monday. But please do be safe, practice social distancing, the 3 Cs and the 3 Ws, all right? Thank you for being with us since 10 p.m. Do join us again next Friday on Science Stream. Same time, same place. Good night and stay safe.